If you are an oversharer, this video is certainly for you, as I'm about to share with you 13 practical tips that can help you shut your mouth when you feel the need to overshare. As always, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now will be a good time for you to join our Level Up community, especially if leveling up is of importance to you. So just click the subscribe button and the bell just right beside it so you can get instantly notified whenever we upload a new video. Okay, so now to today's topic, oversharing. Do you consider yourself an oversharer? I think that if you're watching this video, then definitely you think or you believe that you are an oversharer. To keep things in context for today's video, I'm going to define what I mean by oversharing. Now, oversharing is simply just saying more than is required in a conversation or about a particular subject matter. I also put down here that this most times leads you to divulge sensitive information to people who have no business knowing your business, or venting endlessly in times of emotional difficulty, or finding yourself confiding in total strangers who you have just met and spilling out a lot of sensitive information. That's what I mean by oversharing. Now, oversharing is something that a lot of people find themselves doing. And one peculiar problem with people who are oversharers, and I've heard this a lot of times, is they can't help themselves but just overshare. And after I did a little bit of research as to why people tend to overshare, I came up with my conclusion, or in my opinion, that people tend to overshare either because they're seeking validation, feeling very insecure about themselves, haven't healed from their childhood traumas. They feel the need, or they have this pressing responsibility to cover up any form of awkward silence during a conversation. And then the last thing I put down here is they also overshare when they feel like there's nothing more to say in a conversation. So that time when you're having a conversation with someone and then the pause that happens makes you feel the need to just keep talking and talking and talking. And by continually talking, you are definitely going to spill out things or say things that you have no business saying. And then something else that causes people to overshare as well is when they feel the need to brag. Some people overshare because they just simply want to brag. They want to show off what they have, tell people what they have. So they go on and on and on and on, yapping about their achievements, their social achievements, their material achievements, their financial achievements, and all of that stuff. And really, that's actually what happens when you overshare. So oversharing stems from either seeking validation from other people, if you're feeling very insecure about yourself, if you haven't healed from your past traumas, things that hampered with your life as a child or growing up into an adult, if you feel the need to just cover up awkward silence, or if you feel the need to brag. So those things are the things that actually cause people to want to overshare. I'm not going to dwell so much on the problem. I'm just going to go right into the solution. But before I go into the solution, I want to give you like a real life scenario of why oversharing is very bad. So I went into the store a couple of months ago to purchase jewelry for myself because I had an event that I was going to attend. And as soon as I stepped into the store, there were 3 ladies in the store. One of them was the owner of the store, and 2 other ladies who I would consider maybe the friends of the owner of the store. So they just sat and were having a conversation. And for literally 10 minutes straight, while I was just pacing around the store trying to select the jewelry that I wanted, I could literally hear the owner of the store going on and on and on and on about her husband. Literally just going on and on about how he's always there for her, how he does this for her, how he's this, how he's that. The 2 people she was talking to or having conversations with didn't say anything in that 10 minutes. Me being a stranger who didn't even know anything about her, and this person is actually a popular person online. So me being a stranger who didn't know anything about her, I was just there. But I have ears that function. My ears were functioning very correctly. I could hear everything she was saying, and she was divulging very sensitive information about her family, about her husband. So these 2 people. Now, I didn't mind that she was divulging it to the 2 people because I don't know the relationship that they have. But where I was very concerned for her was the fact that she didn't care that I was in the store. Again, remember, this was my first time in her store. So to her, I am a total stranger. So she didn't care that there was a total stranger there, and she just went on and on and on yapping. And I found that conversation, or I found that scenario very awkward, because she wouldn't even let the people she was having conversations with chip in their 2 cents. She just kept talking and talking. And it was up until when I went to her and I said, oh, I found what I want. That was when she actually kept her mouth shut and attended to me. Now that is a perfect example of oversharing. I also have people who I would consider acquaintances who would see me and meet me, and for some weird reason, they just start to tell me all of their personal matters. The ones I ask, the ones I didn't ask, the ones I care about, the ones I don't even bloody care about. They tell me everything, and I'm like, okay, is there something about me that makes people just want to dump everything on me like that? I don't know, but I have found myself in situations where people told me personal details about their lives. Now, I'm not a bad person. I'm not going to use that information for anything. But imagine you were telling it to someone who had ulterior motives, who didn't care about your interests, who you didn't even know. Imagine just spilling out your secrets to people like that, and it's very, very bad. And that's actually all of these two scenarios and more is actually the reason why I decided to come film this episode, so that I could share with you some practical tips on how you can stop oversharing, just in case you are an oversharer. Before I go on, I put down here that oversharing exposes you to harm, especially when you are oversharing to people who you don't know or trust. Most times, nobody really cares. Sometimes people are just there to while away time, or people are just there to just listen to your gossip. I put down here that you chase the good people away when you tend to just continue to divulge unnecessary information and just be there dishing out your emotions on them, and then you keep the bad people. You keep them because those ones are just seeking out for information that they can use to maybe hurt you or use to take advantage of you in some way. I also put down here that the moment you continue to talk and talk and talk about yourself, you are shortchanging yourself. You are cheating yourself, because you're opening up your mouth and letting the other person know so much about you. The only way a person can know a lot about you is when you open your mouth to talk. And then, of course, when they spend some time with you. So if you keep talking and talking and talking and talking, you are giving yourself away and letting the other person know so much about you. And like I said earlier, if those people are bad people, they'll take advantage of you and hurt you big time with it. So you are letting them into your life, but you don't know nothing about them, because they're just quiet and listening to you talk and getting all that information that they can use to hamper with you. So yeah, these are some of the reasons why oversharing is such a bad thing, and you need to curb the excesses of it today. And I hope that the points I'm about to share with you now would actually help you curb the excesses of oversharing. The very first practical tip that I put down here that can help you stop oversharing is you have to deal with the root cause of oversharing. Ask yourself, why do I overshare? What is that pattern that you have noticed about your life or your experiences that makes you open your mouth to overshare? At the beginning, earlier on in this video, I talked about why people tend to overshare. Sometimes it's because they are feeling insecure. Sometimes it's because they feel the need to get validation from other people. Sometimes it's because they haven't healed from their childhood traumas. Sometimes it's because they feel the need or have this responsibility or are burdened with the fact that they have to just fill up any form of awkward conversations or awkward silences during their conversations. What makes you overshare? The next time you feel the need to overshare, ask yourself, why do I want to overshare this information? What does it do for me? What satisfaction does it bring to me? And why do I want to do it? Asking yourself that question would actually help you bring a lot of light or shed a lot of light into the situation. And then by the time you're able to see the root cause of why you do it, then that's like literally 70% of the problem solved. Because once you're able to identify why, then you're able to bring some attention to it and be mindful of what you do or how you overshare going forward. But you have to find the root cause of why you feel the need to always open up your mouth to talk to people about personal, sensitive information that they have no business listening to. What is the root cause of it? Find it out. And you can only find that out by just going inward and having moments of self-reflection, reflecting on the past, in times where you have overshared. Why did you overshare? What was it doing for you to overshare information with people? Have that. You can even take it a step further and actually have a practical session where you have a paper and a pen and write down scenarios where you have overshared to find out, why did I have to overshare this? And when you notice the pattern, once you're able to notice the pattern, then you know the reason why, and then you nip it in the bud immediately and heal from whatever it is, okay? Before we go on, the Art of Speaking course is still currently up and available for anyone who wants to improve on their communication skills. If you want to be an excellent communicator, know how to communicate your thoughts, feelings, and ideas excellently, both in your social, personal, and professional life, then this course is definitely for you. Click the link in the description box down below to get more details about the course and, of course, how to access the course as well. Let's get right back into the video, shall we? The second practical tip that I've put down here on my notes on how you can stop oversharing today is, say these words to yourself until they are ingrained in your mind. A private life is a happy life. Hear me again. A private life is a happy life. I put down here that what people do not know, they cannot talk about and they cannot destroy. So you need to ensure that every single time in your life, you are maintaining your mystery. Let people continue to speculate about your life without having the true facts and the true truth about what the details of your life or your experiences are. Let them continue to speculate, but you tend to bring them into your world when you are yapping, oversharing things. You talk about how you and your husband sleep on the bed together, how he doesn't give you, or how you guys have sex only twice in a month, how you are letting those information people don't need. By the time you open your mouth and spill such a thing, you've let the other person into your sex life. And then they now start to have ideas. And if that person is a bad person, they'll just start to assume, okay, maybe you are not satisfying your husband in bed. And then they start to make their move so that they can take your husband away from you and then start to be the ones to satisfy him properly. I'm just saying. So always remember that a private life is actually a happy life. What people don't know, they can hurt. What people don't know, they cannot destroy. They can only speculate. And that's where you want to leave them, in a speculation phase. Let them keep speculating while you keep maintaining your mystery. The next point that I've put down here is, always consider the level of trust you have for a person before you start oversharing. Can you fully, confidently trust them with that information you're about to give them, without any feeling of doubt that they would use that information against you, to hurt you, to spite you, to judge you? It's important that you are being mindful of the people that you're divulging information to. And if you cannot trust them with your life, then please swallow that information and never speak it out. I always like to say that, think about your life experiences, or think about, your things that happen to you. Think about, or imagine that you put them in a vault somewhere. Lock up that vault and only give the code to that vault to the people that you trust. Only let the people you trust have access into the vault of your life experiences. And anyone who you do not trust, or who you cannot say or vouch for, at least to a certain extent, should never have access to your vault experience, or your experience of your experiences in that vault. The next point that I've put down here on how you can stop oversharing is, in situations where there are awkward silences in a conversation, note that it is not your responsibility to keep the conversation going. When the other person has kept mute for a while and you truly know that there is absolutely nothing more to say that is necessary, you too, keep quiet. Keep your mouth shut. Unless maybe you can come up with just flimsy topics that you can use to just continue a conversation. But again, when you're having conversations with someone else, always read their body language, always read things about themselves and know when to end the conversation and when you can continue. But when there's an awkward silence or a silence in that conversation, don't feel like you're the one who needs to pick up the pace of that conversation. No, don't feel like it's your responsibility. It's a conversation anyway. So that person also should bring some life and some bubble to the conversation as well, if they really care about the conversation. But if you read their body language and they're lacking interest in the conversation, don't feel the need to continue because you're like, okay, let's just keep talking. No, you don't have to keep talking. Shut up. Okay? I say that with love though. Okay, shut up. The next practical tip that can help you stop oversharing is when you feel the need to overshare to someone else, pull out your mobile phone and make a video recording of what you want to talk about. That way you have overshared, but you only overshared with yourself. Sometimes people just feel the need to just talk. They just want to open their mouth and talk. Maybe they just learned a new word or learned new phrases and they want to put it to work. So they just open their mouth and they just want to talk. In that instance, don't call anyone. Don't go looking for anyone. Just pull out your mobile phone. I don't overshare. I have boundaries and stuff. But sometimes I feel the need to just talk about something that's going on in my head. Or what I like to document my thoughts. So instead of journaling, I just do the video journaling. I pull out my phone and I'm just saying to myself things like, so today this happened to me at this place and this was how I was able to. So I'm talking to the video and it's like I'm having a conversation with myself. That way, whatever I'm saying, I have satisfied the need to open my mouth to say something. But I did not overshare any information or divulge any information to just anyone. It's there by myself. Of course, protect your phone so that no one has access to your personal video archives, so they don't use that against you as well. So that's something that I find that works for some people. It used to work for me in the past when I used to be an oversharer though. Yeah, and mine stemmed from a place of insecurity and the need to feel validated by other people. That's many years ago though, but thankfully the girl is saved, the girl is healed, the girl is just everything nice. And I wish that for you too. Next point here is invest in a good journal and learn to start penning down your thoughts for yourself instead of oversharing with someone else. So write down everything. It's the same thing with the phone. Instead of recording it on a video, if yours is writing, start writing. Start writing down your thoughts. Learn to write down your feelings. Learn to write down your emotions. Learn to write down the experiences, things that you experience in your life on a daily basis. Learn to write them down every single day. I promise you, it would literally, you will feel relieved and you would not feel that need to overshare when you have already let that thing out into the atmosphere, because somewhere in your subconscious, it will feel like you have already said the thing out, but you only just wrote it down in your journal. And again, be very protective of that journal so it doesn't get into the wrong hands, okay? The next point here is become an active listener. Listen twice as much as you speak, and only speak when it's absolutely necessary. And your listening should not be from a passive place. Listen actively, not passively. There's a difference. The people who listen passively listen to respond. They listen to just talk back. The ones who listen actively listen to process the information that they are hearing from the other person. Processing it means you are dissecting it, understanding it, knowing where it's coming from. Like, you are not about responding. You don't care about responding. All you care about is understanding the other person, processing what they're saying, and then ensuring that what they are saying is what you understand. That's how to become an active listener. And even the Bible says it. I think there's a way the Bible puts it. So that scripture is James chapter 1 verse 19. You know, I always like to go into my Bible. So let's just quickly take a deep dive into the Bible. Simple instruction. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Let me read it from the TPT. Hopefully it's a better translation. My dearest brothers and sisters, take this to heart. Be quick to listen, but slow to speak. Oh, that one touched me. Precious words from the word of God. Be quick to listen, but slow to speak. So listen, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, someone says. So listen twice as much as you speak. Okay, the next point that I've put down here is, as much as, yeah, you say oversharing is bad, sometimes we still feel the need to just talk. We want to talk to someone. So if you feel the need to share details about your life in an excessive manner where you don't want to hold back any information, my advice is find a confidant. Find someone who you know would not judge you. Find someone who you know would not take advantage of the information you have shared with you and hurt you in the past and hurt you with it. Now, it's hard to find people like that because, yeah, it's hard to trust people these days. But I know for sure that there are people who you can confide in. But it takes time for you to win their trust, for you to win the loyal part of them. So don't just meet someone today and just start pouring. No, it takes a while for someone to actually earn your trust, rather. So ensure that even if you want to talk to someone, make sure it's someone you can call a confidant who will not spill your secrets to or use your information against you. And this leads me to the next point. Stop overly trusting people. Stop overly trusting people. It's a mistake that I made so much in the past because I'm a good person. I like to think of myself as a good person. I like to think of myself as someone who has good intentions, who doesn't have any bad feelings or ill feelings towards any other person. So because I'm that way, in my head, somewhere I assume that everyone, or I used to assume that everyone is the same way that I am. So because of that, trust was so easy. I would open up my doors to people, open up myself to people, and nobody had to tell me after I was hurt 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I'm like, what the hell? I need to hold back on this. So stop overly trusting people. Just because you're a good person doesn't mean everybody is a good person. And I also say that people process information. People process things differently. Something that you could have just told somebody in innocence, pure innocence, the person would read it or process it and read it in another and give it a totally different meaning. That's not what you have said. And they can use that against you. And somewhere in the future, you find this person saying things about you or interpreting what you have said. And you're like, no, that's not what I meant. For you, it was a light something you said, but that person took it and made it 1,000 times bigger than what you actually meant it to be. So that's why it's important that you are not overly trusting people. Like I said before, trust is earned. Trust is earned. And for someone to earn your trust, it takes a long time. They have to go through tests and trials. The people who have earned your trust aren't the people who laugh with you always, who don't tell you the truth. The people who should earn your trust are the people who have gone through tests and trials with you. They have seen you cry and they were there for you. They lent you a helping hand. Those are the people who will not judge you in your hard times, your difficult moments, your emotional traumas. They are there for you. So the people who you should trust are the people who are not only there when things are rosy and good and okay for you. These people are there. They will show up and show out for you even when things are not okay for you. That's why sometimes I say test your friends. Test the people around you. So that you know who is who. Don't test from a place of meanness or wickedness. Test from a place of kindness so that, you two are not being manipulative as well. Okay? But stop overly trusting people. Allow people to earn your trust. Okay? Thank you. The next point that I've put down here on how you can stop oversharing is this. Before you open your mouth to talk, ask yourself these 3 questions. Is it necessary? Is what I'm about to say necessary? Is it valuable? Is what I'm about to say valuable? And what do I want others to take away from what I'm about to say? Is it necessary? Is it valuable? What's the goal of this thing I'm about to say? What's the goal? If you can't answer these 3 questions, shut up, please. For your own good, shut up. Next point here is, now, this is for those who still must talk. They want to just say something, I put down here that if you must talk, especially around people who you do not know so well or who you do not trust so well, learn to keep things very vague. Don't tell the whole thing. It's not an all or nothing approach when it comes to talking. Don't tell the whole thing. Keep things vague. Spill out just a little at a time and keep the rest to speculations, imaginations. These are with people who you don't trust so well or who you don't know so well. Keep things vague. Generalize your statements. So for example, maybe you took a trip to Switzerland, for example. I went to Switzerland. You can just say, I went to Switzerland for a work trip. I was invited for work and that's it. I was invited for work. So you don't have to go into details of, okay, I went to Gucci, I bought this at Gucci, I went to this, I spent this, I did that, I flew first class, I flew second class, I flew third class. Nobody needs that information. Okay? I went to Switzerland for a work trip, and it was a good trip, and I really enjoyed it. That's it. This next one is my absolute favorite one. Stop posting everything about your life on social media. Be very selective about what you choose to share with total strangers. Remember, social media is, as much as it was created for us to stay connected with our friends and our family, it has become something totally different, a totally different ballgame. People use social media for different reasons. Some use it to showcase their lives, seek validation, but you also always have to remember that social media is a community of total strangers, at least from your point of view. Just because you have 10,000 people following you, those 10,000 people, do they know who you are? Apart from what you decide to show on the internet, they don't know anything about you. Do they care about you? I also have come to quickly realize that these same people on social media, oh, great job, oh my God, lovely, are the ones who will pick up the stone to hit you when you fall one time, or when you do something once that doesn't sit down well with you. They will pick up their phones and they will stone you with their comments. I've experienced it because I'm in the public space, so I know what I'm talking about. You can't always satisfy everyone, can you? No. So always remember that the people on the internet are strangers. You don't know who is behind the phone. You have no idea. So be mindful of what you share. Be very mindful of what you share, and don't feel the need to post everything about yourself on the internet. Keep some things to yourself, okay? Which now brings me to my last point. Start setting healthy boundaries for yourself and stay loyal to your boundaries. Have specific things that you know you can share, or you want to share, or you should share. And then certain topics, certain areas, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't share it. For example, personally, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, Winifred is a very private person. Winifred is so secretive. We don't know anything about Winifred's life. Do you think it's not intentional? It's very intentional. When it comes to my work, anything about my work, I would share. When it comes to my personal private life, I'm very mindful of what I put out, because I feel my private life is my private life. Just because I'm a public figure in quotes doesn't mean that everything about my life should become public. So I'm mindful of what I share. And just in recent times, I started sharing vlogs on our Winnie School of Elegance community, because I find that this community I read your comments, I get your messages, and from the comments, I find that the people here in this community are wholesome minds who are excited about learning and growing, and we're just all growing and learning together. There's no toxicity on this platform. At least that's what I want to believe, because from the comments are always so wholesome, people just full of gratitude and all. So because of that, I felt like this community is such a safe place. Let me put it that way, in quotes. The people here are safe people who I can let into my life, at least to a certain degree. And that's the reason I started to share the vlogs and started to show a little more about my personal life to the people of this community, because I find that it's like we're becoming more of a family of some sort. So if you haven't started watching the vlogs, this is your chance to go check out the playlist vlogs. I think I've put out about maybe 6 or 7 vlogs so far, and we put out the vlogs every Friday at 5 p.m. So look out for that, okay? So it's important that you are setting healthy boundaries and you are being mindful. Separate what can be shared and what must not make it to the ears of total strangers. And like I said before, if you feel the need to overshare, find a confidant. Find someone who you can trust. Find someone who you know will not judge you and will not use the information you have shared against you. Always remember that when everything is going rosy and nice with a person, your heart is tingling and tingling and tingling, and you want to talk. But always remember that hard times come, and hard times is when a person's character is actually defined. Hard times is what reveals a person's true nature. So you want to be ensuring that you have experienced a hard time with someone and see how they respond to that hard time or how they are in that hard time before you start divulging all of your personal sensitive information. That's all I have for you for today's video. I hope you have learned a thing or two. I know I have. And if there's any points that I missed that can help us stop oversharing, now would be a good time for you to please leave it in the comment section down below so that we can continue this conversation from there and we can all continue to learn as well. I'll see you next time with another video. Until then, remember to stay very, very elegant. Take care.